What's up, guys? It's me, Jesse, and we are back with more Tower of God content. Thank you guys for being patient. I know this took a little while to come out, but we should see a more regular stream of content flowing in for the time being. Work has just been busy, so I didn't get the time I wanted to make and edit this. So today, I want to go over Baam's current situation at the Nest and talk about why things aren't quite as hard as they seem for Baam, despite SIU hyping up the rescue of Jin Sung and the defeat of Zahard's military as a very insurmountable feat. If Baam defeats the military here as well, then going up the tower, besides family heads, there really isn't too much more that Zahard can actually throw at Baam. And due to this perceived lack of difficulty, this lack of stakes here at the Nest, it kind of seems like Zahard is becoming the underdog in this story, with so many forces conspiring behind Baam to make sure that he wins. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Right now in Tower of God, Baam faces his biggest battle yet. The forces of FUG have rallied behind him to help him save Jin Sung, and they've begun to fight 2 corps of Zahard's army. But the army's resources are vast, and they have countless troops and multiple branch heads from the families to help defend the Nest. Between Calavan, Yasracha, and Mashini, it may seem like Baam now faces truly insurmountable odds and will need a miracle to pull this rescue off. But what if things weren't quite as impossible as they seemed? What if the forces converging behind Baam were stronger than we thought, both at the Nest and in the larger conflict? What if the entire hierarchy of the tower has actually been undermined for millennia, so that even the smallest drop of blood could signify the onset of a great war? What if, despite being the king of the tower, Zahard is actually the underdog in this situation? This might seem like a crazy thing to claim at first. Zahard is the king of the tower, and the 10 families rule over 100 floors in his stead. He has an army, a priesthood, and has carried out all manner of atrocities and suppressions during his 10,000-plus year reign with nearly infinite power. He himself is number 3 in the tower, in a regular, behind only a literal god, an Axis, and a Guardian Slayer. He has no limits and is perhaps above even fate. Well, at least that's what he'd like to think. In reality, Zahard's empire and the power he commands lie in a much more precarious position than SIU likes to show us. He'll write the military as if it's invincible, but the reality is they've proven themselves to be an incompetent and sacrificial pile of fodder. The result is a sense of security watching Baam that takes away from the danger of opposing Zahard. Let's see the resources the Empire brought to the Nest. We have Mashini, one of his strongest princesses, and 3-ish corps, the 5th plus the old and the new 4th. There are hundreds, if not thousands, of rankers here, with many high rankers and at least 3 implied to be in the top 100. There are also at least 3 branch heads and Lopo Bia high rankers. And if Calavan and Yasracha weren't enough to make you shit your pants, Zahard's forces threw in one single player to overwhelmingly stack the odds in their favor. Charlie. I see now I've just disproved my own point. There's no way Baam could even breach the first wall in that case. But even for the elite ranker Charlie, things don't go quite the way we'd expect a grueling war to go. No force has stood up to Zahard's military for thousands of years, and there's a squad of high rankers here trying to take FUG down. It's supposed to be invincible, yet Baam's squad manages to clear the first wall with no significant losses. Baam, White, and Karaka take no significant damage. Cha and Dewan barely fight each other, and Evan Kell seems to have recovered completely from her bullet graze. Yuhan Sung, despite being locked away in Karaka's armor to battle Qian-He, is also no worse for wear. Paul and Doom, who had the most intense fight by far, are a bit tired and sitting it out for now, but are generally unharmed. All in all, Baam's side got through the battle in an incredible position. We didn't even have to worry about any dead regulars. All of their powerhouses are still here. They got reinforcements, and they even gained 2 extremely powerful fighters, Calavan and Dewan, to carry them the rest of the way. Kel himself didn't come to fight, but if he changes his mind, he'll also be a significant boon to Baam's team. So what's up ahead? Well, first, there's another squad of high rankers. There are 4 or 5 at this wall with the core, and we don't really need to worry about anyone else because it's evident that normal rankers no longer matter. Baam can beat them without much difficulty, and last we saw, Augustus was playing around with them trying to catch up to White's historical kill count. Evan Kell may be on a solo mission right now, but after being off in her own bubble in the last wall versus Didiano, there's not much of a difference she'd really need to make here. We have high rankers and elders such as Augustus and Sophia Tan who can fight division commanders and defend the needle, and powerhouses like Cha who can take them out with ease. With White, Calivan, and Cha ready to push forward, there's no singular soldier aside from Yusracha himself able to combat them. While the commander will be a powerful opponent, in a straight fight, most of Baam's side should be able to easily handle most of the division. And while a combined effort could likely take down Yusracha, it'll probably be Yama taking point on that fight, and we know how well that went last time. If the Houndborn are the only people at stake, a failure on Baam's side seems pretty unbelievable, even if we lose Paul and Doom. We don't know what game Yusracha wants to play, but it's probably the only way that SIU can sufficiently raise the stakes and present the risk of failure. But even then, it's hard to imagine that anyone in Baam's crew would lose 1v1s to some meme-quality higher rankers like Cheese Mouse. It'd be like Karaka losing to Paul. It wouldn't be narratively fulfilling to have them lose, but it certainly still makes things too easy if they win without a struggle. What we essentially have to hope for is a victory here, but that most of Baam's team would be too tired to fight at the next battle. If that comes to pass, then maybe we can see a real struggle for Baam to prevail and reach Jin Sung. It's only beyond this wall that we can see a real challenge. The new 4th Corps is allegedly more powerful than the old, so it's possible that pieces like Karaka and Han Sung can face a greater challenge. However, Kel, Dewan, and Cha will likely still be raring to go, and their power can't be discounted. Even Dewan was able to stop Calivan's attack, and Cha's been able to block them as well. Kel, of course, was confident he could beat even Yama, and is able to effectively combat Evan Kel, so there are still plenty of powerful pieces in play, even if the Needle's reinforcements don't come along. The real wild card here is going to be the branch heads, and the Shinhyu they command. While only Tokoko's bird put up much of a fight at the first wall, it's possible the 8th Sun's snake or something similar is waiting, and that might take a full team to kill. Beyond that, only Liberic remains, and he's taken by Calivan. The victor of that fight is up in the air, but it's evident at this point that with the sheer power and number of Baam's allies, it's not a difficult task at all to clear the walls and infiltrate the nest, at least for Baam. Barring any large twists, getting to Jin Sung will be relatively easy. Unless a family head turns up at the end, there's no way Baam's team is going to face significant losses at the nest. Alternatively, Liberic's corps does fight at the current wall with Yusracha, but given Yusracha's game still stands, we can still expect things to play out similarly. Of course, I didn't forget Mashini, who's built herself up as the main antagonist in this part of the story. But that might not really be the case. We already know that Mashini wants war, and in the Hidden Floor, we see that one of her dreams is to fight Zahard himself. It's often speculated that her real goal in this conflict is to spur Baam's growth and sow the seeds of change and chaos. The latter part is evident, but to do so, it's only natural that she needs Baam to become stronger for the rest of FUG to rally around. And because of this goal, to create war and raise monsters, Mashini isn't truly on Zahard's side. And between her, Yuri, En, and Arlene, it's fairly evident Big Z is actually pretty shit at handling the women in his life. And that's what makes Zahard so fucked beyond the nest, too, this lack of control. Whether he knows it or not, he's really running low on trustworthy allies. The military is about to lose 2 corps, and Baam's not going to lose any critical allies in the process. It's hard to believe future divisions will prove any more challenging, and it's far more likely that more FUG slayers and elders will rally around Baam. With everyone mentioned, it begins to seem like the rest of the tower is carrying Baam up more than even his own power-ups can. The biggest challenge he'll have going forward is the family heads who still support Zahard. It's safe to say that Lopo, Bia, and Arihan can still present a real challenge, but it might be easier to outmaneuver them than we'd expect. At least one family head is openly plotting against Zahard, and 2 others are likely on bad terms, Yurin and Edwan. It isn't hard to envision other family heads going against each other and keeping them occupied. Even Urek Mazino has helped Baam in the past, and even though he doesn't want to go against Zahard right now, his feelings could change, and it's more than likely he'll be open to assisting Baam with other matters in the future. Frankly, there are only 3 individuals in the tower who we know can truly pose a threat. 2 of them are Arihan and Lopo Bia, who's about to have half his family wiped out. The other is Princess Adori, an incredibly powerful piece on the chessboard, and the only active princess who we know is loyal to Zahard. But even she has a potential match in one of Baam's allies, Eurasia N, one of Baam's probable allies, I should say, who's tied at her rank. Though Zahard's power is astronomically greater than most others mentioned here, when you run down the list of allies and enemies, literally everyone has a match up to his level that can help Baam forge the path ahead. Looking at Zahard's side, there are really only 3 fighters that can make a big impact in the battles to come and keep the Empire in power. Every other ally he has is destined to fail, and the only person he can truly rely on is himself. Perhaps this is Zahard's greatest challenge. Even fate is against him. As each of his own pawns have forces to counter them on Baam's side, Zahard's most direct enemies are Baam, Gustang, and fate. He's made it clear since the Hidden Floor that his goal is to overcome fate. Ever since he climbed the tower, it was inevitable that he'd face rebellion. Whether it was the Ancients or even Arlene, time naturally spawns opposition, but even he couldn't have predicted a prophecy, and the sheer magnitude of deceit headed his way. Gustang is giving Baam thorn pieces, N is just waiting to be unsealed and is going to be a force to be reckoned with, and the Slayers of Refugee are catching up to Zahard's army. If Yurin, and maybe even Edwan, decide to openly combat Zahard as well, his empire becomes infinitely more fragile. He's incredibly powerful on his own, but he can only be in one place at a time. Fate has guided Baam up the tower and kept all pieces in their proper place, and until Zahard can finally find a way to manipulate it, he finds himself at a severe disadvantage. With Baam already able to maim rankers in the first half of the tower, he can consider his days numbered. Ultimately, Baam and his allies far outnumber Zahard's forces. Most of his army and Red already have equal matches, but for every commander Zahard has, Baam has a second Slayer or Blue Hole to back him up. Even some of Zahard's most powerful vassals have turned against him, leaving him only with his most loyal family heads and his commander-in-chief to deal with all problems around him. The nest is practically a done deal, and the only chance Zahard has at victory is to isolate Baam's allies and take them out one by one. But with them traveling together, that's far easier said than done. With fate on his side, Baam can carve an easy path to the throne room, but Zahard has so much more to tangle with. To maintain his empire, he has to defeat a rapidly growing irregular with Arlene's prophecy on his side, many of his active princesses, multiple rogue family heads, the majority of FUG, and possibly even Urek Mazino. The only allies he has that don't have easy counters are Adori, Lopobia, and Arihan. So while Baam's challenges are still very real, it's truly Zahard himself who faces the harder mission. He may have conquered most of the tower once, but now he has to defend it from its most powerful enemies and the string of fate. So why does any of this matter? Why is it important that things look easier for Baam? The answer is that with so many allies backing Baam and so much power flowing into him, it's become evident that Baam is running out of real danger to face. While his tremendous growth as an irregular is to be expected, it's easy to perceive the situations he faces now as less dangerous than in the past. Even with Zahard's army here, he brought many of the tower's strongest to face them and can easily match his enemy's power. Compared to the tests and challenges Baam used to face, the pure combat required of him now just gets easier as he grows in power and more allies fight his battles for him. With such a tremendous force gathering behind him and fate at his side, it's not hard to imagine that Zahard himself, tasked with defending his empire against conspirators on every level, faces the greater challenge. Whether SIU decides to spice things up a bit is up to him, but as of right now, Baam's success seems all but inevitable. Thank you guys for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. Feel free to comment if you have any other commentary to give or any criticism if you disagree with it, if you like it. Leave a like, smash that like button, smash that subscribe button. I'd also like to thank my mod bros Bones and Cyclerin on the Tower of God Discord for helping me look over this and make sure I'm not saying anything too stupid. I'll leave a link to the Discord in the description. Please join it if you're interested in discussing Tower of God. It's a fantastic server in that regard. So thank you guys again for watching, and I'll be putting out more content soon.